Parents divorced when I was 14. Lived with my dad since then, so it's been 6 years now. Been moving from house to house, place to place, whatever. Been coming to this church attending the church for like 2 years now. Been coming to youth here for about 6. Started early in high school. My whole life, I was taught always to believe in God, and we went to church and everything, lots of different churches, and I didn't really care that much until I started coming to youth here in high school, and then pretty much, dedicated my life to God, and it went the usual way it goes. You're on fire for a little while, and then the next few years are just bleh. I was nothing extreme, but I was just lukewarm, and didn't ever read the Bible or anything for years. So I was basically like a chemistry teacher who's never read a chemistry textbook, saying he is. I'm not a chemist. Plenty of drinking and smoking, because all the people I hung out with were doing that at the time. And it was all up until pretty much 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago. Everything changed in a huge way. I had this dream, a very vivid, crazy, realistic dream that's really not normal. So yeah, basically I had a dream that I met myself, I guess, from the future, and I invite him in. We sit down, and when like it's a dream, I thought it was actually happening, so my mind exploded, with questions and all these things. And basically he said that he wasn't there to talk about him, he was there to talk about me, which is kind of weird. So I asked him what he's here for, what do you want? And he says, well, I'm here to tell you to wake up, basically. Jesus is at the door. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to start actually taking your life seriously. It's time for you to actually realize that what you do now affects eternity when your new life begins. I'm here to tell you that. This is a rare opportunity. He wants me to tell you that. Jesus is at the door. He's knocking. He wants you to open it. Just let him in and let him take everything. Basically, yeah, that's all I remember. After that, all of a sudden, just all these revelations started happening. And it was like every day, God would reveal things to me, and other things like just overeating or smoking, things like that. Like I'm a very I won't dance around it. I'm a very addictive person. I get addicted to things way too easy. I get consumed by things, and basically things like quitting smoking or physical pleasure, things like that. I couldn't stop, no matter what. And I was sitting in my living room one day, and all of a sudden Jesus intervened out of nowhere. I don't know what's with his timing. It's weird. I guess it's him, so it's perfect, but I don't understand. Basically, I was standing there with Jesus in a dark room, and there was a door, and he says to me, I'm going to go through this door now. There's something on the other side I need you to see. If you want to follow me, what's good for you, you're going to follow me, So he goes through the door. He's like, I'll see you when you get it open. He closes it. I try opening it. The knob's jammed or something. And I can't turn it to save my life. And I hear his voice from the other side. He's like right on the other side, just kind of waiting. He's like, Yeah, sorry, somebody messed with that knob a little while ago. It opens much better from this side. If you need my help, I'll open it for you. And that's basically it. But, you know, normally you'd think that if something like that happened to you, if you actually have a vision like that, you'd go, whoa, you know, and okay, I got it, you know. No, not for me. That's how addictive I am. You know, a couple weeks went by and I was still whatever, and all of a sudden Jesus starts speaking to me again out of nowhere. I wasn't praying or anything. He just kind of starts talking to me, and he's like, so about 2 weeks ago I showed you something, pretty good analogy, of what you need to do in order to overcome these things and get closer to me, because these things are holding you down. I'm up here. You can't get up here if you're being held down by these chains. So my only response to it was, it's hard. It's too hard. I'm sorry. That's all I could say, kind of like, oh, you know, the devil made me do it kind of excuse. And he basically said to me, you know, things like smoking or, you know, food and things like that, it's pretty sick that you compare these things to me, and that you think that these empty wells are going to fulfill you, and you actually put that before me. And then this, I don't know what it was, I guess the Holy Spirit, it overcame me for like a tiny, like 3 seconds, like really there, and then it was gone. I don't know how long it was because I was kind of distracted, but it was like nothing that I've ever experienced before in this life. Nothing. Like, oh, I can talk about it, but you won't get it. Nobody, I can't explain it. There's no words really. If I could make up a word, it would, yeah. But basically, like, accomplishment, fulfillment, love and happiness and joy, basically the best of those things you could ever feel times 1,000. And not just that, just the physical side of it as well, not just the emotional and the spiritual. It was like I could barely stand. It was like I had so much power, and like the stimulation and the taste in my mouth. There was like a taste in my mouth. I don't know what it was. It was amazing. And just everything, you know, and it was there and then it was gone, and I just freaked out. I'd bring it back, you know. I would gladly pay my next 10 paychecks to feel that again for 3 seconds. That's how good it was. That's, you know, well, if I could, limit it to that. Mm-hmm. Gladly, even just for 3 seconds. You know how people do crazy things for drugs or whatever? Yeah, like I would do anything to feel like that again. It finally all clicked. Like for a brief moment, I experienced something that I can't even explain other than, I guess, good. You know, it seems like a big deal to give everything to God. It's actually not, because once everything is gone, you're gonna go, oh, I should have given you more. You know, that's been the hardest part, is allowing God to just kind of take over and give him everything. And you know, even after that, I still had a lot of trouble. These things were still holding me down. And then, like a week later, we went on a youth retreat. We all wrote down things that we struggle with, and then one person would take it and pray over it, and then they'd throw it in the fire. The chains are gone. Basically just breaking your bondage. And yeah, I wrote down, I need freedom from basically doing what I want, not doing what Jesus wants. And someone prayed for it, crumpled it up, threw it in the fire, and it was like gone. And since then, it's just been a crazy, like, for the first time in my entire life, I actually know what it's like to be free. And it's like there's nowhere to go but up now, you know. And immediately after that, the next day, I'm at work, and it was kind of like, it was just me. It was like Pentecost or something, and so it was just me alone, and I was doing these big heavy things that are really slow. So I had a kind of a lot of time to stop and think, and Jesus is always there, but it feels like he just shows up sometimes out of nowhere. But yeah, he showed up, and I'm like, oh, sweet. Well, I start praying and asking him what he wants me to do that day, and he basically just wanted me to, sit and be still, and I'm still fresh, I'm just still freshly released from my bondage, so I need to just kind of soak them in for a while. I'm like, okay, and the next thing he said to me was even better. He was like, yeah, I'm here for you. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave. And I brought 4 angels here, and they're praying over you. And I couldn't see anything, but I knew they were there because I could. This is going to sound crazy, but I could hear them, what they were saying. And they wanted me to go and tell everybody, we're here for you. There's angels. It sounds funny. There's angels at Envirotech today. We're here to bring you times of refreshing and joy from Jesus. And I was like, whoo, yeah, this is awesome. It was aside from that 3 seconds of, I guess, heaven, or kind of demo heaven, that was the best moment or episode of my life. Just, it was like for the first time I actually, like, I was getting the inside scoop. Like, I actually knew what was happening. Kind of, it's, you have no idea what's actually, like, on the spiritual side of things, which is actually the eternal, the real, the thing that matters. I actually understood, and I went and told, everybody, and some people understood, some people were like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, you're going to hear voices in your head, kind of. But most of them were good. I was reading Exodus, parting of the Red Sea, basically the exact same thing, and that blew my mind too. Basically, they're on the shore, and the Egyptians show up, the things that oppressed them for so long, and they were finally free. And it's pretty freaky when the chains come back to try and consume you for good, and and everybody's freaking out. We should have just stayed there. We should have just, we should have never quit in the first place. And then, Moses, I guess the leader, he's standing there, and he goes, no, these Egyptians, these chains that held you, you're never going to see them again. This is the last time you're going to see them. And, there were angels there, a pillar of fire protecting them, and they were like, whoa, okay. And then all of a sudden, the ocean kind of opened, and there was a path, and they needed to, you're going to sit there. Well, then you got to move forward. You can't just be free of your bondage and then sit there. You got to actually walk towards God. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Right now, my life is all about Jesus. That is the only thing I have to live for. Like, when you actually experience, when you experience his freedom, and he changes your heart, and suddenly all these big problems you had are like gone, and it's just him. just the same as he was, just the same as he will be, and just the same as he is, you know. And there's nothing more empowering than than knowing that, you know, the God that created everything, you know, before time began, before this whole finite sphere of existence was made, before the stars were set in place, he was, he is, and he is to come. You know, the fact that he actually gives a rip about you, the fact that he actually cares and actually loves you enough to suffer horrendously for you, that should be enough to make you say, all right, take everything, please. You know, your will be done. The advancement of your kingdom is what I have in mind. That's where I am right now. Seek first the kingdom before anything else. And, you know, I've just learned now, you know, that, before anything, he comes first. It's very vague. I feel something in my future, something to do with ministry, something like that. I'd have to get a lot better at interacting with people, so, and I'd also need to, you know, educate myself a lot more and fill myself with his word. It's, yeah, that's where I am right now, kind of just taking God in for the first time, basically, and walking forward.